Hey everyone, stick with us versus herd. If it's your first time here, like the content, hit subscribe. If you want to get notifications from when we go live or post videos, tap the bell. And if you want to join the UvH fam, links are below to our options trading group along with our Discord. I didn't go live today, so I'm going to do kind of a combo, a trading recap of what I did today along with what I'm looking forward to tomorrow. So today I actually, here's my trades today. Actually only closed the day up about $60, which is kind of lackluster coming off pretty big days Thursday and Friday. We're at and then we had the long weekend. So today we're at about $60 profit. As you can see, made all my money today in ULTA, Alibaba, and Tesla today took my money, and we'll go into that here. Kind of starting things off. So Tesla, right off the bat, I got sucked into the 235 calls, and really what I was looking for on those 235 calls here. Let me get this chart up. Get this chart going here. Now this is a good example of what happens when you chase. This morning, big candles. I was pretty patient this morning, which is kind of surprising why I actually did this trade. It opened around like 224, went down to 223, and then went up to 227, and then looks like you're going to have some continuation. We did hit 229 area, but that was it until the wheels really fell off. I mean, what I probably should have done, I did take a small loss on it. I bought them for $1.60 and sold them for $1.33. I had two of them, so we took a small loss, but thankfully I cut those because those 235 calls today on Tesla. 235 calls, are now trading at 66 cents. So let me pull this up here. Kind of, this is why you don't trade. This is why you don't chase, especially at open. Even though pretty big. These had a pretty big movement here from 75 cents all the way up to like $1.60. That was pretty good, but it really wasn't worth it. I mean, kind of my idea behind it was going to make a quick run to 230, 232 area, and that was going to exit the trade, some quick money. But as we know, sometimes there's no such thing as quick money. Today the money was made very, very slow, and we gapped up today, and it was kind of just we gapped down today, but we were just kind of going real slow all day treading water. As you can see, like Tesla today pretty much stayed in its range, topped out about here at like 228, and then at 224 it bounced again at the end of the day here. It sold off. I mean, I could have, one thing I wish I did was just sold the call and went to puts, but I was a little bit, I typically don't like flip-flopping the same stock like that. That's why I normally don't do it. People are like, hey, why don't you just instead of when you exit the call, buy a put when you know it's going to go against you. Should have done that. I didn't expect it to drop this big, though. I did not expect it to drop that big. Tesla is kind of interesting right now. It's definitely on a downtrend from 260. So it's right now that downtrend is still holding. When we had a big gap down today, like we were down like 360 or 400 on the Dow at one point today, mostly on the Chinese tariff starting on September 1st, and then we had the manufacturing data come back really weak for the last quarter. So that's why I kind of got double whammy. I lost within 7 minutes on Tesla. 7 minutes within Tesla, we exited the trade. Thankfully I took the trade off, because it would have been a lot more hurtful if I took it off at the end of the day here. These touched like 55 cents at one point today. So definitely glad I stayed disciplined in closing that trade. Next up was Baba. I'll bring these two together here. Baba, I also sold for a loss here. Opened it for $1.49, sold it for $1.27. I had the 170 put, and really my entry on Alibaba, it was just a bad entry. Right idea, bad entry. I had the 170 put. Right now it's only going for, let's call it like 140. I bought it for 149, so I way overpaid for this. And the reason why I overpaid for this is I caught it on the late. I opened it at 905, which is like I caught it like down here too, like 173. So I bought it when it was exploding down, and that's why the premiums went really high, and then they got crushed right away. And I held on a little bit. It came down. I actually didn't sell it till 1:21 p.m. And that's kind of to show you how much I overpaid for it. So at 1:20, so at 9:05, I put this position on like right in here, and then at 1:21 Central Time, so right down here, even though it was like $1 lower at the time, I was still down in the position. So that's why I'm like, hey, this was a bad entry from the start. I'm going to exit the position. I mean, and still now, even at close, even though it's still lower, it's closed at 172.41, I still would have been down in the position. I opened it for $1.49. I probably would get like 138 on it, so I'm still down. So I was like, when you have a position like that, I was expecting quick money today, and that was my mistake. I was expecting it to go up because it went up really quick and go back down to like 172 area. But things were moving so slow today that you got to know when you have a bad entry. Making quick moves when the market is moving slow, it's not gonna pay out. It's not gonna pay out. And then my only other trade that I did today, so I kept it pretty minimal because not a whole lot was going on at open. I mean, SPY was moving just like, we'll go over that in a second. But my first trade on the ULTA, this is kind of where things got interesting on ULTA. I bought the 235 put at 9.24 and I sold it at 12.25. So I bought it for $3.20, sold it for $5. So nice 50% winner on that. And then I had another trade in the afternoon that I lost $20 on. So if it wasn't for ULTA, we would probably not be having a very good day today. But this was kind of dangerous because, as you know, they had bad earnings. They went down like 25-30% almost on Friday, and today here we are again. I'm definitely going to be looking at trading this tomorrow, so this is definitely on my watch list. Definitely very interesting here. Hit a low of 231, and within 30 minutes, this all happened in 30 minutes. Went from 231 to 244. I hopped on at 9.24, so right in here. So right between these two candles here, I hopped on, and it was pretty much solid downtrend. It was trying to get a little testy in here, and that's where it gets a little choppy. But after it broke like 238, we were pretty much just headed down, and then I closed it at 12.25, so I closed it right in here, which is pretty nice. Pretty much caught the low of the day here. I then turned it around, and because I took profits, I'm like, okay, I'm up 50%. I'll take profits. Thankfully, I did. But then maybe go into that 230 put. I thought I would roll it down because I was thinking on ULTA, we pretty much have a good chance now that we're in this range to go down to like the 225. So I'm like, okay, if we make a run to 230, I'll definitely cash out. I didn't really want to hold anything. I didn't really want to hold anything overnight tonight. So when it started to go against me, I got out of the position, and I only held on to it for 30 minutes. So I opened it at 12.26. I was out by 101, and I took a $20 loss on that. But tomorrow I'm definitely looking at ULTA here. Because I think, thankfully I did close that put out. So what's that 230 put going for right now? Yeah, it's going for $1. And the other problem with this, even though there's been like good volume on these, like this has 1,100 volume, the bid and the ask was like 30 cents. It was definitely, I would say it's definitely a hard one to trade. Hey guys, if this video is of value to you so far, hit the like button below. I would really appreciate it. It helps me out. Just had to throw that in there. But yeah, I mean, that was the other thing that was a little bit difficult about ULTA. I don't normally trade it, and I'm just pretty much trading it off the chart and the bad earnings. And when it spiked up like that and looked like it was getting weak, it went from 244 down to 240. I figured it was a good chance it might revisit the lows of the day, which it did. For the most part, I mean, it didn't hit the low of the day, but it revisited like the 234 area, as you can see here where it opened. And I guess on Friday it sold off pretty big as well. So, and that was after the gap down. So ULTA for me is definitely still in play. So like I said, I'm looking forward to making a break of the 230, potentially revisit these lows, but we'll see what happens. There's a lot of people trying to buy the dip and stuff like that. I mean, I was on Stock Twits. I don't normally go on there, but I just want to see what people are saying about it, and they were buying. They're like, oh yeah, it's gonna go up to 285 by next week, and like crazy stuff, and people buying it as it's going down, Meanwhile, my put was getting richer, and I'm glad that I closed the position out. Because at 235, I closed at that 235 put. I closed at $5. It's now going for, between 310 and 370. And I bought it for 320, and the last price was 328. So that's how quick your profits can go. So that's why when you hit your goals, I was actually pushing it at 50%. I should have closed it out at 30%, but I thought that it had more to give, and it did have more to give. But I really was playing it very dangerous right here. I mean, we could have left some more gains on the table. I mean, we definitely, I don't know if we picked the high of the day on that, but probably not the high of the day, but pretty close. Let's see. Come on. Yeah, I mean, it started the day at 720, went down to 215. We bought them for 320, and then we sold that here at like 5. It went up to 555. So like that final push there, and then it came down. Ever since 555, it came down to 328. So I pushed it a little too far there. I will admit, pushed it a little too far. I'm glad that I did a little bit, but definitely. Today was a slower day in terms of the market in general. We're up, after taking in 160 and then losing about 100 here. We're only up like $60, which I'm not complaining. I mean, today was a tough day in terms of sideways chop. So if you're looking here today, we gapped down in the S&Ps, but we pretty much just we're trading between 290 and 291, which really makes things not very interesting to trade just in general. I mean, some things were happening that I'll be looking in tomorrow. I mean, TLT all of a sudden just skyrocketed. We're going to be checking bonds and interest rates tomorrow to see kind of what's going on in the morning. But TLT definitely is on the watch list here. Went from 146 all the way up to 148 in 15 minutes, and then it had a downtrend the rest of the day. So like I was telling people that when you get bars like this, these green candles, these are the bars you sell your position on. If you had a position on an open at TLT that was starting to go against you, and then you had a candle like this, you sell. You sell. But TLT is kind of getting interesting up here. Are we going to continue higher to the 150s, or are we going to push back down to the 140s? Kind of interesting. Another one was SLV. I'll be looking at tomorrow. SLV. Silver's up like 29% in the last month. I mean, just exploded. I mean, it can't continue like this, but it's definitely gold and silver are definitely interesting plays right now as there's more recession fears and people are getting more scared of a potential recession. You're going to be looking at precious metals here, such as silver and gold. Gold was up pretty big today as well. GDX. GDX was up another. It had a nice run from $30 up to $30.70. After it gapped up below 30, like 29.80, 29.90 area. So we're gonna be looking at that. You're looking at, not saying there's gonna be a recession, but I would say people are a little scared right now. And also, we had Trump tweeting today about China. It's hard to say what's going to happen. Right now the tariffs increased about 50%, and in December we're hitting them with more tariffs. And then I know that the Chinese did submit a claim with the WTO, which is the World Trade Organization, about unfair tariffs against China that were I can see how that could be, because now they're getting impacted. But nobody wants to make a deal. Because they're going to appear weak and it's going to cost somebody something. We're just kind of stuck here, and as a retail trader, we're here just kind of doing the best that we can with what we got. You know what I mean? Like we're here. One thing that I do want to talk about with SPY is, you know, we did hit this 294 area again on Friday, and then we moved our way down. Then today we had a down day. You know, we hit a low of 289, but right now we're kind of mid-range, so it's kind of saying, okay, what's going to push us lower? What's going to push us higher? Are we going to revisit these like 285 lows here? Or are we going to try to push 294 again? And as the range gets tighter, the movement's going to be slower until one day we just kind of have a divergence, and we you know, explode higher or explode lower. So we're either going to go down to 280 or back up to 300. You know, it's depending on what happens. And I think, unfortunately, this is 100% news driven. Costco also, in my opinion, I've been trading it for the last week or so. As you guys know, it's been pretty interesting. You do have to take, you do have to be aware of some of the option pricing as well. You know, not as liquid either. So you just got to be able to price it accordingly. Don't just hit the ask and buy if you're trading this. You know, definitely, I always when you have a bid and ask like this wide, I always low ball the mid price. So let's say the mid price right here is like 170. I'll go like 165, 162 and see. Sometimes you get filled, sometimes you do. I mean, most likely you don't, but sometimes you do, and it's worth a shot to save yourself 10, 20 bucks, you know, because that really adds up. It can also really help your P&L long term. But what I'm looking at up here is it's having some difficulty up here ever since we had that big day with, is this giving back? This news is based on when we had this big day on Costco, was they opened their first store in China and lines were at the door and they had to turn people away, and it had a big day for the stock. But now is that giving it back? Are we going to come back up here to 280? So that's why I've been kind of trading both sides. You know, you don't want to hang on too long, because as you can see, every day here, like going back to last Thursday, we had a quick down move, then we went back up, and then on Friday, you know, we had a quick down move. You don't want to sell because then we were just stagnant, just eating away at premium. And then today as well, you know, it was very choppy, so I didn't trade it today because I was afraid that it was just going to be really choppy. And this was the problem with this morning. People were trying to get too aggressive, and it was, you know, kind of like me with Tesla. It was just too choppy to trade this. So, you know, should have been more patient. This was definitely a better entry. Once it started capping out here, then breaking lower, this would have been a good entry. But you wouldn't want to hold on, because then it went back up a couple bucks. So that's why you got to be. That's why on Costco, I've been just taking my gains. I've been making some decent profits on that, and I just been wanting to take my gains on that. So, you know, just want to do a quick video, recap my trades, because I didn't do a live stream earlier. Like I said, the video was of value to you. Hit the like button. I would definitely appreciate it. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Stay safe, stay green. It's us versus herd.